Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Squawk Seize podcast, your new favorite Pokemon TCG podcast. My name is Kyle, or Koopa, however you want to refer to me, as one of your hosts, and joining me, as he does every week so far, 2 weeks in a row, the Pony Bottle champ himself, Mr. George Fabre. George, happy Tuesday. How you doing today?
Let's go with it. What's up? What's up? Dude, honestly, looking back at the first episode, I feel like we've been doing this for years, bro. Like, we're naturals. I don't know. I got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we definitely crushed it. And shout out to everyone that checked out the first episode. I think it's almost at like 100 views right now. For a YouTube channel, doesn't have a lot of, zero following right now. Just raw word of mouth. Y'all came through in spades, and we appreciate that. And in today's episode, we're going to keep the good vibes rolling. We're going to continue to preview what's coming up in a couple of weeks, the Baltimore regionals. We're going to talk about some stuff that we've been playing, stuff that we've been testing, some thoughts we have as we kind of flesh out this weird Worlds meta that we're in. We got some new cards that were announced and some new collection sets for those collector folks out there. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I have another fun edition of Squawk Seize for Mr. George later. And I'm not going to tell him what it is yet because it's going to be funnier that way. It's a fun one. But George, I think I'll start with like a non-Pokemon question. How's your day been? How you doing?
Today was like every other work day, man. Just woke up, bite the bullet, and pray something good happens. And then nothing good happened. And here we are. Something good finally happened. We got to record this podcast.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Tuesdays are definitely like the worst days of the week. That's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people aren't big fans of Mondays. I'm not a big fan of Tuesdays. I think Tuesdays kind of stink. So,
you ever see Office Space?
Yes.
Anybody ever ask you, "Hey, you got a case of the Mondays?" Nah, hell no, man. Get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
That's exactly how
also applies for Tuesdays, though. Also applies for Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays are the worst because we play League on Wednesday, so it's like we have something to look forward to there. It's the middle of the week. Mondays are just nobody likes Mondays, and if you do, you're a robot.
I got Mike Bio just texting me, asking me if I stole his dice. Like, I don't know, man. I don't care.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. But we will get to all the Pokemon stuff in a second. Let's recap some stuff we got up to this past weekend. You won a challenge this past weekend.
A 9-person challenge. So I don't know how impressive it is. One with Zard without the fish in there. Thankful for Quick Search and for Sealstone. Because somehow got away with that. And then I played in a cup the next day without the fish again. A little too cocky, I think, and did horribly. So, and you played Drago, right? That's not your style, though, man. You want to draw some cards. It's not the deck for you.
Yeah, we're both attending the Baltimore regionals, so we're kind of in the midst of just testing some stuff out to see how it feels. I've had Reggie Drago sleeved up for weeks. I just haven't played it in like an actual tournament setting. I've only ever played it just for funsies with my friends to get reps in with the deck. So I figured this weekend I would try it. And my opinion on Reggie Drago, I don't think it's changed very much. That deck is incredibly hot or cold, and I think that speaks loudly to how the V-Stars are just incredibly inconsistent as cards, where if you do the bare minimum to set up, you're probably in pretty good shape. But if you brick, you're bricking hard, and there's really nothing you can do about it. I scrounged together a 2-2 record, but I did not have fun. It's probably some of the least amount of fun I've had playing Pokemon. And I went 0-4 at a challenge a couple of weeks ago. So I think my problems...
You had more fun in that challenge?
Yeah, because I was playing Goldengo. Goldengo's fun. You draw cards if you get the setup. But my problem with Reggie Drago was the games where I played against Future Box, and I just bricked to all hell. Not fun. No, I did not get anything established. I lost to Raging Volt because I prized 2 Reggie Drago V, and I didn't realize that when I attacked with a Reggie Drago V in the active, and then I'm like, oh, I am in trouble here. So bad vibes all around. Not great stuff. But in the 2 games I won, I don't really feel good about that either because it was in the Reggie Drago mirror and my opponent's bricked. So it's like I came out of that challenge learning nothing, except that Reggie Drago probably isn't my deck. So,
well, to be fair, too, there was a lot of Maridon and Future Box, right? For a 9-person tournament. So playing Zard, confirmed Zard is good against Maridon. It's near impossible for them to win, especially with unfair stamp. I mean, they can't do anything at the end of the games. And if they go into a one prizer, quick search for whatever I want to beat you. And I had a sick play at the end where I used Dust Clops, just blew myself up, didn't matter where the damage went, counter catcher to win the game. So, it's pretty interesting. Even if I was at a boss, still having counter catcher and going behind on prizes with Dust Call, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Counter catcher, good card.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I am very proud of you for sticking it out with a deck that you know very well. I think you've been trying to slam your head into the Charizard hole for a while now. And we all at the locals, we're all just trying to play different stuff. Everybody's tests a little bit differently, and we're no different than that. So you've played a little bit of Maridon. I think everybody's pretty much on the same notion where big basics are in right now. The format is very fast. But there is still a home for, decks like Charizard in a meta like that because Charizard scales and damage. It doesn't matter if you get behind by a few prizes, you will still be able to outpace your opponent. So it seems like it's safe to say that you've kind of found your stride again with Charizard a little bit, despite the fact that you ran it back with the wrong deck the next day.
I mean, it was just honestly running it back in that cup, knowing it was going to be a 20-person cup. I wanted to really just see, is Luminion okay being cut? And can I play 2 Charmeleon? Because I love 2 Charmeleon. I think it's great. Unfortunately, that is going to be the first cut, though, because that's kind of luxury more than a necessity to have 2 of them. But what I will say is, if I had fish in my last game, I was making a comeback. I went down to 3 prizes. They had 1 prize. I couldn't find Iono against someone was playing Lost Tina. Who plays Lost Tina these days? I haven't seen that deck in forever. And I saw him comfy, and he went Lost Zone Tina V-Star. And I was like, well, it was definitely Tina because there's no way he got rid of the V-Star and he has a 1-card hand. You know what I mean? Either has it, or I think he had a 1-card hand before that. So I was like, he either has it and got rid of it. So I was like, I just need to find, Iono here, and I could actually win this game. And I had Ultra Ball in hand, and what Ultra Ball could have turned into?
Luminion.
The good old fish. Yeah, I could have got the other Iono. So, it needs to go back in the deck. It'll be back in the deck tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just kind of taking a browse through the highest placing, Charizard lists from Worlds, and a lot of them are running 1 Charmeleon. And I think if you're playing the Thornton as well, it makes not having a Charmeleon, a second Charmeleon not as bad. But I agree that you definitely need. I think a lot of people are torn between the Rotom of it all or the Fish of it all. Charizard does play a lot of bench sitters now, especially that you're adding in stuff like the Pheasantipity, the B barrel if you're still choosing to play that. So I do think you gotta make a sacrifice somewhere, and unfortunately Charmeleon is seems like the low man on the totem pole there. So
yeah.
But it is listen, I applaud you for running it back with the wrong list again. That's truly inspiring stuff. And shout out to local Fiend and Lost Box enjoyer Vinny winning that cup you went to on Sunday. So good stuff. Love to see it.
Yeah. Congrats, Vinny.
Yeah. So as we continue on here in this weird meta, we got another week of testing ahead of us, and you came up with the idea. It's let's kind of take some polling info on the decks that are doing well right now. we already talked about Zard a little bit. So have you? And I don't know how much testing or games you've played against the other good decks. Is there another deck that's sort of like on your radar right now of like ones we might want to revisit at some point?
Well, I know we talked about Reggie Drago too. You didn't enjoy it, but it's still really freaking good, right? Like,
yeah,
it's scary. The Zard matchup, it makes me feel really uncomfortable, especially just because Ogerpon can just attack at it anywhere, and it's almost like you need to boss the Ogerpons the whole entire time, which is also strange, because you're like Iono counter catcher Ogerpon because you don't want them to have draw and you don't want that thing on the board, and you're like letting them use Dragapult's attack, or if they're playing Tina, Lost Impact, you almost rather them attack with that, and you just try to make a new Zard. It's an interesting matchup. It's a lot of cat and mouse. But I haven't really, I didn't really play against too much other stuff the last couple of days. A lot of Miraidon. Roaring Moon, I don't know. Kind of has the same thing Reggie Drago has, where Roaring Moon, not Roaring Moon. I didn't mean Roaring Moon. What's the other one?
Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt. Thank you. Thank you.
The other
Raging
ancient
Bolt. The other ancient guy. Raging Bolt is also scary because of Ogerpon and Zard as well. They have it on the board, and it's just like, man, if they could get this Ogerpon off, like this, it's one-shotting Zard. So, unfortunately, though, I didn't really play a lot of other stuff. I played Harold against Goldango. Goldango's interesting. The 260 is just weird. 260 HP is a weird number. You definitely need Duskull in that matchup. So, yeah, overall, just, it looks like a lot of Reggie Drago, looks like a lot of Miraidon. A lot of our friends played Lugia, too. Matt did well with Lugia.
Yeah, our friend and local scalper, Matthew Tam, bubbled out at 5th, I think, in that cup that he went to. Yeah. Played a Lugia mirror against local junior phenom, or senior phenom, excuse me, Charlie. Shouts to Charlie. But yeah, I think Reggie Drago is going to continue to be popular. I think people are kind of like a little, maybe going a little overboard with how much of the meta is going to be Reggie Drago going into Baltimore, because I think Worlds kind of skewed everyone's viewpoints a little bit because it's the best players in the world. They're obviously going to immediately hone in on what the best deck is, so some of those numbers are going to be a little inflated. I'm expecting to see Reggie Drago still be very popular. Maybe not like 24% of the meta popular, but I think we're going to see anywhere around like a 20-ish% meta share for Reggie Drago. And that's why I wanted to play the deck, because I'm like, all right, let me give this its fair shake. When I've played it in friendlies, in casual matches, it feels fine. But again, it's one of those, it's a very hot and cold deck. And I've seen a lot of my friends have that same, feel that same way about the way that they play it, is that, okay, I set up and I do the bare minimum, I'm probably okay. But then I had instances of games where I don't do the bare minimum and I'm getting cooked. There's the amount of games where I started bench Pokemon Attach Energy Pass was way too many, and it was tough. And I'm just like, this deck is supposed to be the consistent one. So then you're forced to use your V-Star power, which in terms of V-Star powers isn't probably the most powerful one, but you're forced to use it to bail yourself out, and then you're milling away more resources that you can't get back. So it's like the whole time I played the deck, it just felt very clunky. And it personally, for me, it didn't mesh. But the games where I have to set up, hey, the deck operates well. I was playing a little bit of a different list. I was playing a variation of my good friend Zach Lesage's top 60. He got 36th place at World, so he just missed top 32, but was in on the winning end. If he almost was this close to getting top 8 with the deck. And he plays the Haxorus, and I think that card is like criminally slept on, where I think if you're locking in on Reggie Drago, you kind of have to ask yourself, okay, what can I do to give myself the edge in the mirror? Some people could play the Radiant Gardevoir, to help, adjust your math against other decks. I don't personally think that's that great of a choice either, because there's tons of math correction in the format right now. I think playing something like the Haxorus, I think, is worth it, because you're discarding cards anyway. for the most part with this deck. So you don't mind that, obviously the first attack to bring down the axe is cute, but Dragon Pulse doing 230 for a very minimal side effect is pretty good. So I'm looking to see if cards like that maybe make give itself some polling position moving forward. I still think that big basics are the way to go right now. I've played a lot of the World's Roaring Moon list the last week or so to varying results. I've had a pretty weird week in terms of matchups that I've played. Dating back to last week, it's been a lot of Arceus with Dusknar, 2 Goldengo decks, an Iron Thorns deck, and I'm just like, what level of the Twilight Zone did I stumble into where I'm just playing these strange matchups? So that deck feels pretty good. Again, it still has some issues if you don't get off to the hottest start. It's kind of hard for you to get back in. You're a deck that wants to constantly be applying pressure. Miraidon, I think, is good too if you don't start 7 energies in your hand. It's got the same sort of Lugia problem where, like, you just have these unplayable garbage hands. So I don't know. I think the way that I'm looking at it is that, like, I don't really know what the right play is right now because, truthfully, everything I've played kind of feels like crap, if I'm being completely honest.
I think you should give Miraidon a chance again.
I don't know, man.
I know. I mean, I have it sleeved up if you want to play it tomorrow, but I think Miraidon's good. Like, it beats a lot of decks right now. You just can't run into Zard. So
yeah, and that's like what I'm very interested to see is that, like, since we're getting back into like an open bracket style of tournament where I think there's like, assuming there's gonna be like 2,500 masters or something. I haven't looked at the exact numbers of who or what is signed up for Baltimore, but you figured, a little bit more of the field's probably going to be Charizard, and you have to kind of, at some point, you're going to have to make take a gamble on what matchups you're okay losing. And I think if, like you said, if you dodge the Charizards, Miraidon's in great polling position, and I just think, Turbo Lightning has always been a great, archetype in the Pokemon TCG. I think we're going to see a lot of Jesse Parker's lists be very popular. I think this Ryan Harris's top 16 list is also very good. That list gives you some flexibility going first because you play the Rotom and you play the Iron Thorns to kind of slow your opponent down. So I don't know. I agree. I agree with you where I think Miraidon is in good polling position if, granted, if you can show up and hit your generators, which scares me a little bit, but sometimes you got to take risks if you want to do well in this game. So,
remember how I told you I'm always just finding random things on my desk?
Yeah,
just found a random Mew just hanging out on my desk.
You weren't kidding when you said that you had like 3 of them.
I have like 4. I think. I didn't even know that one was there.
For people that don't know, George's desk is just a treasure trove of just various really good playable Pokemon cards. I think.
Promo Team Evolution is hanging out. I don't know.
What do I got on my desk right now? I got I got Stoutland V. So this guy used to be good. Boy, let me tell you the tales of my friend Stoutland V. Back when Lugia was an insane deck, but that's besides the point.
Stoutland V. That was a cool guy.
Yeah. Double dip fangs, man. Double dip fangs. What a deck.
A lot of crazy stuff over here. It's wondering where all these cards were.
Speaking of Lugia, that is a deck that that I've been testing as well. I think my biggest thing about not playing.
Hold on. This is what I was looking for. This card, I think, should be played in Regidrago.
Oh, that guy, the what's it called? The Silver Tempest Dragonite.
Yeah, because you search your deck for 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So, like, if you have to if you're like in like a lot of like to do 180 and to do that, you're pretty much like Arceus, right?
Sure, but I think that card did see play in Regidrago back when Regidrago was like a meme. It was like when Barry Bonds played for the Pirates. Nobody really remembers it, but it still happened. Like. But I think the times have just changed where you only have so much deck space, and I think there's just way better Dragon type Pokemon. And I don't think Regidrago's problem is moving the energies around. I think it's being able to knock stuff out. Was its biggest problem because your best Dragon type for the longest time was like Suing Gudra V-Star, which is like, and now that card's like almost on it's like the 61st card in a lot of people's lists. A lot of decks are cutting that card, which I personally disagree with, as you saw a lot of the really good lists were still playing it. But I just think the Dragons have gotten a lot better. Like, I would play something like, I think Noivern has an argument to be a good card back in Regidrago again, because with all the big basics rolling around, it gives you a little bit extra oomph and forces your opponent to find another piece, to get their combo off. So I would look at cards like that before as much as I love Dragonite, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I think for these reasons, I'm out personally. So,
well, no, if you're gonna 2-shot anyway, put some energy in play. That's what I say.
Yeah, Haxorus is cooler.
Am I a rhymer? Am I a rapper?
You might be.
Rhymed right there.
But let's talk about Lugia again. So this is a deck that I think is like, in any field where, like, if you asked me this question like 3 weeks ago, like before Worlds, I would tell you that Lugia was in great pole position, as it seemed to have been going into Worlds, given the amount of people that played it. It was the third most popular deck on day one. But now that we've seen that Miraidon is very good right now, and that tends to see what happens, or that is what happens when Lugia is good, Miraidon becomes good again. The whole rock, paper, scissors of this whole equation is dangerous. And not only is Miraidon a thing, but Iron Thorns is a thing. And, Lugia's options in the Iron Thorns aren't also good either. It's put up Fluttermane and pray that you can get enough energy on board. So I don't know. That's why I'm personally scared off of playing Lugia. I don't want, because I know a lot of the field's going to be playing these big, scary decks. And I think if Lugia can set up well enough, you can, get over some of those shortcomings. But I don't know. I don't know if you've played much against, how much Lugia you've played against, playing what you're playing. I don't know if you got any thoughts on where the deck kind of sits.
Lugia played against? Brother, play.
That's true. We do play a lot.
Play a lot. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Lugia matchup for Charizard. It's not what I want to see. NIC, I lost to a Lugia because for some reason when I play Lugia, I'm like, immediately my brain goes to Radiant Zard, attack with 2 left, and Defiance Band to knock out Lugia. And then I get trapped in the active and can't find my Turo, or something bad happens. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I really think that if Lugia knocks out first on Charizard, you just win. But if they don't take the first knockout and they wait and they get set up and you have to go on even prizes, you're in a bad spot. So I also think you have to just go Duskull, put damage somewhere. If you could get the Dusknoir off and knock out a rat, that's like great. But no, the matchup isn't good. Like, the fact that the one prizer, you throw Legacy Energy on Minccino, and you're just like, hey, knock this out for 0 prizes or you're just screwed, is very scary. And I hate playing Lugia. I don't like it. I think I've went 0-9 recently against Lugia.
It's tough, man. And Lugia is just one of those decks where if it is able, like the other V-Star decks before it, if it gets set up, it is fully capable of just blowing the doors off things. And I think the thing for Lugia is just going to come down to what direction you're going to go with actually playing the deck. Like, I think we're seeing the Mincinos come back into favor more so than like the big colorless version of Lugia. But you're seeing some lists incorporate the Weird Ear V, which I personally hate that card. I don't think that card is as good because you always start it, or you never get the Weird Ear where you're supposed to get the Weird Ear. And personally, I don't think you're ever getting enough energy on board to one-shot stuff anyway, because you need, like, it does 40 for every energy attached. And it's just like, I feel like you're never getting enough energy on board to, like, actually knock something out, get the pieces you need. So, I don't know. I think it's a wait and see. I don't know how much shelf life Lugia has left, especially, going into what our next format's going to be. I don't really know how good of a card it's going to be. So I think if there's ever a run for it to make, it's probably this weekend. I have been testing. It's a deck I'm bringing with me for sure. It's going in the suitcase. Maybe in the backpack. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how close I want to keep it.
I think you should play it. I've been trying to get you off of it, but at this point, I think you need to just put a solid 2 weeks in and know like the back of your hand. Try to get a list that you think might surprise some people.
I know how to play Lugia. It's like riding a bike. You never forget. So,
no, but like feel really good about every matchup and like really go into it. You know, I know you know how to play it. I'm not saying that, but yeah, I think that's your play, man. I think Lugia is really good. I think it's really good. I was looking at like Cilio Network. He had like something for Baltimore. He had Regidrago first. He had Gardevoir over Charizard, which was surprising to me. And then he had
see that video,
saw that video, and then he had Lugia above both of them. So Lugia is good, man.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. You know, our friend and local fiend Michael Bio has been cooking up a Lugia list. I think he's pretty locked into playing it for the most part. You know, mum's the word. I'm not. Everyone has the right to change your mind. You know, that's the way. You know, if you haven't changed your deck at the last second before Pokemon Regional, have you really been playing Pokemon? That's my question. So, you know, some people are nuts, like me, changing decks the week before Regional and then getting a migraine and dropping out. Shout outs to Toronto. That was a lot of fun. But, yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the stuff that we think is in good polling position right now. You know, I think I'm bringing a couple of decks with me, but like, you know, I would probably like to lock something in, you know, prior. You know, I think anyone that's watching this, if you haven't been to a regional before, you know, definitely don't be a hero, and definitely play something you're comfortable with. I think that's very underrated as well. You know, it's okay to be, you know, if you really like playing Charizard, play Charizard. If you really like playing Lugia, play Lugia. Find a list that works for you. I'm looking at a lot of these Lugia lists and some cards that I like. I think Iron Bundle, good card in Lugia. I'm into it. I think I'm seeing some people be like, well, maybe the legacy energy isn't really what you need in Lugia. It doesn't help your consistency. You know, maybe played a different V-Star, different Ice Spec. I don't know. You know, I'm gonna test out some stuff, see how I feel about it personally, and then we'll cross that bridge at a later time. So it's fun being a Lugia bot. That's for dang sure.
But, yeah, well, I never really played it, so I don't have too much to say on it.
Yeah, it's a deck for sure. But that is that I guess for our sort of feel on the world's format that we're in right now for at least one more regional. At the time of us recording this, on Tuesday, registration for Louisville regionals will open up tomorrow. It's amazing how fast it seems so forever away, but we're basically at the end of August, George. Summer's over.
It is over. I keep reminding a lot of people on my sales team. I'm like, summer's over. Like, don't stress out. Like, go out there, have fun. It's going to be cold before we know it. And field sales is not fun in the cold. But yeah, you know, I can't believe Baltimore is as close as it is. I keep thinking we're so far away, but yeah, like. We basically have, today's what, the 27th?
27th.
It's only, it's almost 20 days away. We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we do. And, hey, shout out to everyone that should be registering tomorrow for Louisville. I would like to go to the Louisville Regionals. I'll see. But, you know, and I think now that we have the podcast, we can talk about this. I think there's a lot of fear as to what the regional registration process is going to look like going into the season, given how the experience was last year. If you didn't immediately drop what you were doing and sign up for a regional right away, it filled up like that. You know, there was people that signed up for Louisville. There was people that signed up for Baltimore weeks after registration was open. So I think Pokemon has heard our cries and is giving us a lot of real estate, you know, to play in this season. So
yeah. And I think that's way better too, because listen, if I do really well in Baltimore and I'm hype, like I'm going to want to go to Louisville. But right now, if you put a gun to my head, I don't know if I want to go to Louisville right now, you know?
Yeah, I'll probably sign up just to play it safe. You know, if I waste $75, I'll waste $75 and I'll figure out the rest later. But you know, who knows? I would like to go. I've never been to Kentucky before, so it'd be cool. But and also on that, we also got the confirmation of the rest of what's presumably the rest of our confirmed North American regionals last week. We got confirmation that we are going back to Vancouver and Milwaukee next season. So we added 2 more regionals to our North American schedule. So you got any thoughts on Vancouver or Milwaukee as host cities?
I know. Didn't they also say Madison?
I think Madison was the rumor. I think Milwaukee is where it's actually going to be. It's on my birthday weekend also. So
that makes more sense. I kind of want to go to Wisconsin. I always wanted a butter burger, so like that seems fun to me. Just like cholesterol on cholesterol, but but yeah, I think that I'm definitely going to Toronto. Vancouver sounds really cool, but I don't know. That's a tough one to commit to, right?
It's a tough flight, man. Those West Coast flights are brutal.
Yeah. So we'll see where we're at that point. I definitely want to do most of the East Coast ones. They said no to Charlotte, right? Or did they not?
Well, that's the part that I find interesting here is that they've added they added a bunch of different regionals throughout the different cities depending on where you are in the world in your rating zone. And what I find interesting about this list is that they add Vancouver as well as Milwaukee, but after Toronto, it's just kind of like between Toronto and Vancouver, there's like a 4-month drop. Like Toronto is the second weekend of December 13th through the 15th, and then Vancouver's in March. So, and then between Vancouver and Milwaukee is like 2 months because Milwaukee is happening in May. So I don't know if they're just kind of slow rolling their regionals because if there's only, one of these is only technically an East Coast regional, which is Baltimore. And, I am biased towards the Northeast. I would love to see them put a regional in, another one within driving distance of us this season. But,
what's the deal with New York City? I don't get it. Why do they hate New York City?
I think it's maybe just expensive. I think trying to host, as someone that knows event organizers, in other event hosting, fields, just trying to host anything, finding venue space in New York for that many people is tough. Now, granted, for a big company like Pokemon, it's probably a drop in the bucket, but I think that's something they'd want to save for like Worlds if they were going to do it. I remember there was a few years ago during COVID that Albany regionals were supposed to be a thing, and then spoiler alert, something kind of crazy happened that year that shut the world down. But I think they're just kind of slow rolling everything because mainstays like Charlotte that cities people really like, and Orlando's not on here. And Orlando's always a very popular one amongst Pokemon goers. San Antonio, which was a huge success last year with people, is omitted from the schedule right now. So hopefully they're just slow rolling everything. But it is kind of strange to only see this handful of regionals so far, considering we had 12 last year. So
I can't see them not doing Orlando again. It's just such an easy one to do. And that place is gigantic, the convention center that they have in Orlando.
Oh my God, it's massive.
Yeah, Orlando was awesome. I would really like to go back to Orlando. And then I would go back to Charlotte too. We had a lot of fun in Charlotte.
We did have a lot of fun in Charlotte.
Yeah. Thirsty, what was it called? The Thirsty Beaver?
The Thirsty Beaver. The Thirsty Beaver Saloon. Man.
Hell of a place for one place. Great t-shirt.
My only complaint is that if they're going to do Charlotte again, do not do it in January. It was way too cold.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was tough, miserable. Man. Like, I don't know how Canada granted it was November in Canada when we went to Toronto. No, it was October. Yeah, it was the week of Halloween. Was Toronto last year.
Yeah, that was before I really was hanging out with you guys, and I was just roaming around Toronto by myself, seeing everybody in these Halloween costumes. Maybe had one too many libations, and just like, what is going on, man? I ended up going to a dim sum by myself, which we absolutely have to go to. I'm going back to that place. But you guys are coming in. Are you going to Toronto?
I unfortunately cannot go to Toronto.
That's one you can't go to, right?
Yeah, I have tickets to see the Sonic Symphony that weekend, so I will not be able to make it. But take pictures for me.
I will. And I mean, wait, you said Sonic Symphony?
Yes, the Sonic the Hedgehog Symphony is in town that weekend in Newark, and I'm going with my friends. So
Is it like the music from the original Sonic?
it's the music from the history of Sonic the Hedgehog games, but it's fully orchestrated, which is dope. So
Huh,
I've been
that's
trying to see
interesting.
I've been trying to see this live for years, and it just always happens to be on a weekend where I'm not around. So I jumped at the opportunity when they were coming to New Jersey, and that was before they announced any of the regional dates for this year. So I'm like, oh well, sorry Toronto, next time. I need you to do me a
Is
favor
it
though.
in? Yeah.
I need you to go to Kensington Market, and I need you to go to this. I'll send you the name of this place. I had the best Jamaican beef patty of my life in Toronto, Canada. I need you
And
to
bring
eat
you
it.
one back?
I doubt it'll make the travel very well, but I need you to eat it for me. It was delicious. I love
Okay.
Jamaican beef patties. They're one of my favorite foods. So
I could do that. I can make that happen. I
you
can
were
swing that.
asking, yeah, you were asking something though. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Where is this? The NJ Pack?
I think it's at
Symphony?
the NJ. I think it's at the NJ Pack. I'd have to double check with my friend. He bought the tickets. So
All right, fair enough. I was just in Newark today. What a weird place, Newark, New Jersey.
it's a city. That's certainly a
It's
city.
a little this, a little that, all over the place. You turn a corner, you're like, you think you're somewhere, and you're like, oh, this is pretty nice over here. Turn a corner, be like, no, this is not where I want to be right now.
No.
But then you walk down the street a little bit further, you're like, yeah, I can see myself living here. And then boom, again, you're like, you know what? On second thoughts, I don't know if this is the place for me. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's like the biggest melting pot I've seen, and especially in the summertime, like people are just on the street. It was lively though, like it was cool. You got business people and you got bums. Like it's 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 like worth the admission. I'll say that. And then we went to one of my favorite restaurants, trying to sell them today, McGovern's. If you're ever in Newark, New Jersey, McGovern's, really great place to go.
All right, putting on the list. That's George's food recommendation for the weeks. So as a point of sales salesman. So
I know the spots.
you do. Moving on down the list here, though, we got some other. It was a pretty light week for news, but we did get the confirmation of our next set coming out after Stellar Crown, which is our November set, Surging Sparks, which was rumored for a while, I believe, but finally getting some confirmation of it this past week. We got a look. I love it when Pokemon does these like rollouts in like press stuff, because we get to see what the packs look like. We get to see all the products that's coming out, and nothing is a surprise to us. So we see the four mascots of the packs: Archilodon EX, Latias EX, Alolan Executor EX, and what appears to be a Stellar Pikachu EX, which we know nothing about. But we got a look at some products. We also got confirmation of what the pre-release promos for that were going to be before we got the announcement of the Stellar Crown promos, which I thought was really funny. But I think the most interesting thing to come out of this was this promo Magneton that you get in the Pokemon Center ETB. And I think it's a very interesting card here. It has the ability Overvolt Discharge, which reads, once during your turn, you may attach 3 basic energies from your discard pile to one of your lightning Pokemon in any way. And if you use that ability, your Pokemon's knocked out. So
it's like the Electrode, right?
Yes, it's like the I forget what set it was in.
Electrode GX?
Yes. Insane card. As if Lightning Pokemon already weren't good. It seems like Surging Sparks is setting up to make Lightning Pokemon even better.
Yeah. I saw the pack art for it. Never seen that font used in Pokemon before. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's nifty.
Yeah. It was definitely different. I was getting kind of tired of like the Scarlet and Violet letters and everything,
Yeah, it is very different. And the set is including 8 Ace-Spec cards, 9 Stellar Terra Pokemon, and 9 Pokemon EX, and 6 Hyper Rare Gold Etch cards. We don't know what the Gold Rares are going to be yet. My bet. What would be a good Gold Rare right now? Oh gosh, what's playable right now that doesn't have a Gold Rare? I'm trying to think.
from Shrouded Fable.
Well, you know what might get gold cards in this set? What if like the booster capsules get gold cards?
Booster capsules. I could see like Dustnor.
No, because the gold cards are usually reserved for like item. Well, in terms of, I guess they're either like the super, like the hyper rares for like the EXs that come out on that set, or they're like old item cards that got printed, like how we got Earthen Vessel or like the rescue board. Or excuse me,
yeah, maybe Rescue Board, because Buddy Buddy Poffin came out already.
Well, Rescue Board already has a gold. That came out, I think, in
Rescue has already.
When did that come out? In Twilight Masquerade? Yeah, I think so.
Rescue Stretcher? Or Night Stretcher?
Yeah. Night Stretcher, yeah, that'd be a good one.
Night Stretcher. Can't really think of anything else that's maybe the Mochi.
That'd be interesting. You know what? They'll probably make Pikachu EX like a gold hyper rare. Yeah, that's a
yeah. Pikachu.
It's already yellow. It's easy, so that card's gonna be expensive. Yeah, we don't know a lot about this set outside of a couple of Pokemon. I guess we can quickly touch on them because these cards are going to be pulled from the Paradise Dragona set coming out in Japan. I think at the end of this month. It's either coming out this week or next week. But just going off of the quick mascot Pokemon we're seeing from this, we got Exeggutor EX. Really nothing crazy here. It's got an attack for a grass, water, and fighting that you flip a coin. If it's heads, you knock out your opponent's basic Pokemon if it's active. If you hit tails, you KO one of your opponent's benched basic Pokemon, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, doesn't Exeggutor have a secondary attack too that accelerates energy?
Yeah, that's the first attack. For a grass water, you do 150, and you can attach any number of basic energies from your hand to your Pokemon. So it's got energy acceleration.
Any number, right?
Any number.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
There's already a lot of decks that play grass and water energy, so like that can be very interesting because it is a stellar Pokemon, so it has those weird energy costs. So, you know, and I think
that with the trumpet though could be interesting.
And if I'm correct, I think the Execute in this set also has an ability where you can evolve it immediately. Let me double check here. Yeah, Ripe for Evolution. You may use this attack even if it's your first turn. Search your deck for Pokemon evolves from this Pokemon and put it on this Pokemon to evolve it. So it's got 30 HP. Colorless attack. You can immediately use the attack on the first turn and evolve, which is pretty sick. So
you're like the coughing, right? It's
yes, yeah, Ascension, pretty much, more or less.
Ascension. There you go. Yep.
We got Latias EX. It has the ability Skyline, which reads your basic Pokemon have no retreat costs, and for a Psychic Colorless, Infinity Blade at 200, and this Pokemon can attack during your next turn. So not terrible. I think this will probably see some niche play in like big basic decks maybe, but I still feel like doesn't really hit hard enough to warrant that, and I think there's better cards, in my opinion, that lower your retreat costs. How are you feeling of reading that?
I mean, they haven't really made a good Latios or Latias card in a long time. The one from Fusion Strike people thought were going to be good. Those were bad. Yeah. What was it again? Say it one more time.
The ability makes it so that your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat costs. Your basic Pokemon have no retreat. And it doesn't have to be any active or anything. So it's like, it's not terrible, but I mean, you know what this might see some niche usage in? This might see some niche usage in stuff like Future Box that plays like a bunch of heavy retreat cost Pokemon. So it gives you a little bit of bench flexibility, but even then you're playing this massive, 210 HP weak to dark looking Pokemon. That's like, I don't really know if the juice is worth the squeeze, but we'll see. Maybe someone will cook with it.
Yeah, it's good for also some of the big EX like Iron Thorns, Iron Hands, so you can't trap them in the active. I don't know. It's a decent ability. I don't know if it's good enough for it to be used as a bench space, to be honest.
Yeah. And the last pack mascot Pokemon that we can touch on here is Archulodon EX. It is a 300 HP Stage 1 Pokemon, which is pretty cool. It has the ability Alloy Building. Once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may attach up to 2 basic metal energies from your discard pile to your Pokemon any way you like. And for 3 metal energies, it has, I don't know what the attack name is here, but it does 220, and during your next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. So, not terrible, and metal's kind of been like on like the fringe of being pretty good, with Origin Form, Dialga V-Star still being a thing floating around, and maybe this is the card that might take it over the top a little bit. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of that that you could attach that to a Q font, right, and use that Stadium. Was it neutralizing? Was it called neutralizing?
The Nooch Zone.
Yeah, so you can have complete, one prizer deck with that and accelerate a lot of metal energy into play. Is Zacian still available as well?
Oh, what the one prize one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Crown Zenith. That's still in the format for the time being. So
yeah, so you could make a nice little, one prizer deck out of that, coupled with the Matang. You could accelerate a lot of energy.
Yeah, I think this will see some niche play. I think metal's and I think that you take away your opponent's weakness. When fire is going to be pretty good. I think Radiant Charizard's like the most obvious that comes to mind. Fire Pokemon that attacks in a format right now, but you do have stuff like Entei still roaming around. You're going to have things like Cinderace EX, roaming around. So I think being able to take your weakness away is very important. And 300 HP on a stage 1 is gnarly, so it's pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
And in terms of A-Specs, we've seen 2 announced so far. I think there's just some other ones that got announced in like the Sylveon and the Ceruledge EX decks, but we can talk about those at a later time. There's the Affluence Energy, which is a colorless energy. You attach it if you attach it from hand, you draw 4 cards. And then there's the Megaton Blower, which discards all Pokemon tools attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon, all special energy and stadiums in play. So, one of these A-Specs is pretty good, and the other one is Affluent Energy. So,
trying to see. This is only visual. I'm trying to read it again because as you're reading them, it's hard for me to remember what you're saying.
Here, I got you. I'll send you a link.
Well, I'm looking at Justin Basil right now, and it's not. Oh, here I got Pokebeach right here. Hold on. Is that where you're looking at Pokebeach?
I'm on Twan Lay's Twitter. Twan, they do a lot of translating stuff, and then like the dead of the night. So here, I'll send you a link on Discord.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to remember what you're saying on these. Let me look at it real quick. Well, you're saying a lot of things are unfamiliar to me, right? So,
sure.
Megaton Blower. Yeah, I mean, discard all special energy and stadium and play. I mean, that's pretty insane, right?
It's basically just like, hey, Lugia, sit down, bud. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's really the only deck that plays special energy right now, so.
And then, what was the other one?
Affluent Energy.
The new stuff.
I'll send you a link to that, too. There we go. And again, if you guys want to check these out, Justin Basil's a great resource for English translated proxies. Pokebeach has all these on their website as well, and Twan Lay on Twitter. They do a lot of translations of the cards as they come out because they love to announce these cards in the dead of the night, which is great for me who wakes up in the morning, but it's very hard to keep track of when these things like come out in the news. So,
I mean, that card's just never good, right?
No, it's terrible. I didn't think there would be a worse. I don't know. I can't think of a scenario where this card would be good. I can't think of a scenario where this is better than Legacy Energy or Neo Upper Energy.
Draw 4. There has to be something they're missing here, right? Like,
I don't know.
that is going to be the worst one-off card I've ever seen.
It's pretty.
I'd rather heal 150 damage than this.
Yeah.
What's the other one? The laser? That's better than this too.
No,
this is
the one that burns and poisons your opponent.
Yeah, this is quite frankly. I mean, this is just
bad.
I don't know. Draw 4 cards. Like what? What are we doing?
All right, I'm going to send you a link to one more I find remote kind of interesting. And I mean, I use the term kind of very loosely because I also think this card sucks. It is Flygon EX. Flygon's one of my personal favorite Pokemon. That guy rules. But we have a Flygon EX here. It's a Stage 2, 310 HP fighting Pokemon. It has, for 1 fighting energy, does 130, and you may switch Flygon with one of your bench Pokemon. And then for a water fighting metal energy, you do Sonic Peridot. This attack does 100 damage for each of your opponent's EX and V in play. I think this card kind of sucks, personally.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, it's the same thing as that Mewtwo card from Pokemon Go, right?
Yes.
But that V-Star power was horrible. No, and you never used it. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like Storming Retreat for 130 and then putting in like a Clef Key or something, being like super annoying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're knocking out Iron Hands. You're knocking out anything that's weak to fighting. So I guess, but it's like, I don't know, man. It just feels like a lot. It's 130 on a Stage 2 for 1 energy is like not bad, but considering that like something like Cinderace can do, 280 and accelerate energy to itself for 2 attachments, it feels kind of like power crap.
You know how this actually might be a little broken?
Talk to me.
Snorlax Stall.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
And then you play the what you just said before with the Latia. So you can retreat. Yeah.
You know what? This could have a home in Control. I know Control's been playing the Luxray. So, I mean, maybe. Someone will figure this out. Somebody much smarter than both of us will figure this out. So,
I think I just figured it out, pal. I don't know.
I think you might be a genius, honestly.
No.
Yeah, but I do like that there are focusing on the dragon types, even though there aren't really a lot of dragon types. There is one more that we can talk about as well. I had it open here in the tab. Only one of these has been a dragon type so far, and it's been Alolan Exeggutor. But this one, Black Kyurem EX, a 230 HP basic, 3 colorless energy. It has the Ice Age attack, it does 90 damage, and if your opponent's active as a dragon type, it's paralyzed. And for water, colorless, Black Frost, 250, does 30 damage to itself.
No.
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
It's not it. Not it. I mean, 3 energy costs to do 90 damage, and you have to be a dragon type for it to have an effect. That's a no. It's a big NO for me.
They want this card to be in Chen Pao so bad. They want you to use this in Chen Pao so bad with these energy costs.
I guess in Chen Pao it kind of makes sense.
But why would you ever?
What?
Why would you ever attack with this when you can just attack with Chen Pao?
Yeah, 4 energy to do 250. That's just
You do discard 5 energy with Chen Pao, you're doing 300. So it's like, why would you?
Listen. Dragons have to be good eventually, like broken good. If they are printing out Lily's Clefairy card.
Sure. Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody really knows when those cards are coming out. I am a believer that that card was printed with the intent to interact with Regidrago. Now, granted, I've had friends say to me in real life, like, well, do you really think they were testing with Regidrago when they were testing this card? They're not really sure. So the Clefairy just might be a waste of everyone's time. Granted, they have to test it for like Dragapult, and I guess that Alolan Exeggutor is a little goofy too. So I think we're gonna get like those owners Pokemon cards like before we get a rotation. But there's people of the like mind are like, well, maybe not. I think this is your way of trying to police dragon types if they think dragon types are going to be that good. I'm not sure.
There's got to be something with dragon types that's going to be like breaks our mind, and we're going to be like, okay, this is why the Kyurem's good now. This is why Lily's Clefairy's good now. There has to be something with dragon types that they did so egregious that they had to nerf it somehow. Because that's such a weird effect. Why is it dragon type only? Why is it only interacting with dragon type?
That's true. Well, yeah, because I think the set this comes out in is like the theme is that it's all dragon type Pokemon, even though that only one of these has been a dragon type so far. So I'm sure we'll get like other popular dragon Pokemon throughout the years. We'll probably get another Dragonite EX, one that doesn't stink, coming up soon.
Oh, that one is so bad.
What a horrible! What a waste of a pack mascot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's a Terra type.
Yeah,
it's probably the worst Terra Pokemon right now.
That's tough, man. There's some really bad ones.
There's some bad ones. Actually, not really. All of them are pretty good.
Well, I guess some of the early ones are not that great. Like, who's playing Gyarados EX? You know what I'm saying? Or like Arcanine, or like Dedenne, Slowking.
I don't know. Dedenne is kind of cool. Well, Dedenne's not Terra type, is it?
It is a Terra type. It's a Terra Psychic type. I pulled like three. I pulled like three of these things. Like, trust me. Let me just look at them myself.
They exist. Trust me.
Yeah, the EX is a Terra Psychic type. And it's bad. This card is 38 cents on TCG Player if you guys want to get one. So
sign me up.
Sign me up. Quite interesting stuff here. So yeah, this set's going to be interesting. I think Surging Sparks, I think, is going to be legal for. Let's see. This set comes out in. I believe this comes out in November, November 8th. So I believe that's going to be legal for LAIC. I think this is when this is going to be legal for. Because that's at the end of November, I believe. So we'll see what happens. I don't really know. It's hard to see that far down into the future because we don't really know how Stellar Miracle's going to shake out. Stellar Crown, excuse me. So we're still a ways away from really knowing how any of these cards interact with our stuff. But it's just cool to look, right. To speculate, look ahead, see the product. DTB sleeves look sick. I'm into that. You got like
I haven't bought an ETB in a long time.
Oh, I always buy at least one. It's storage, bro. You think I don't have a pack of ETB sleeves next to me right now? I don't. They're right behind me, actually. So
I could probably show you something crazy.
Oh, here we go. I love show and tell. For the visual audience, they're going to get a kick out of this.
Well, this is... I don't know what this random box is.
Oh, yeah. So, again, shout out to everyone that subscribed to the YouTube channel and checked out our first episode. We are in the process of getting on all of your favorite podcasting platforms, so stay tuned for that moving forward. Here we go.
Yeah, here you go. This is not the one I was looking for. Dude, look at these old ones.
Ooh, Celebrations. Here. Ooh, good stuff.
And this is like way too many.
Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith.
I also opened a lot of that.
How much Crown Zenith did you buy?
Apparently a lot. I don't know why.
I bought 2 ETBs worth of Crown Zenith for some gosh-forsaken reason. I'm still not quite sure why. So
it was a cool thing when it came out, You know
what it was? I wanted to get the Art Rare Lunatones and Soul Rocks. So I love that deck. That's one of my favorite silly decks of all time. So
I, for some reason, have a full sleeve box of pink dragon shields in here.
Hey, man, there you go. Now you don't need sleeves for Baltimore. So
no, I think these are used.
Oh, tragic. Anyway, so speaking of boxes of stuff, while George looks, we do. We had a couple of announcements of some product coming out over the next couple of months. This is sort of old news. One of them, we have the Dark Powers EX Special Collection coming out at the end of this week, actually, which features Gengar EX, Absol EX, and a Jumbo Bayonet EX. I believe it has double-sided producting, which is pretty cool. I think that's pretty awesome. The Greninja EX Ultra Premium Collection comes out in November. It's going to be $120. Ooh, promo Luminion?
No, just a regular one. I didn't know I had another one.
Hey, there's your fish, bro. You found it.
Found it.
Yeah, we got this Greninja Ultra Premium Collection. Comes with a mat, sleeves, deck. Comes with a coin, deck box, damage counters, and EX dice. A metal Greninja card, as well as one fighting Greninja EX and a water Greninja EX, and 16 booster packs. And we got the announcement of the Trick or Trade for the Halloween stuff coming out.
Dude, the Flutter Mane is pretty hype.
That might be the new optimal Flutter Mane. Real rap.
It might be. That is pretty. I think I need that card.
I love the Trick or Trades. I think they're so sick. I like the little stamp on the corner a lot. I think I'm so mad that I picked up. I found a Pumpkaboo one right when Pumpkaboo rotated out when that guy was broken, which is a shame. Shout out to my stadium bumping little friend. That's my goat.
Yeah, that was a big card in Lugia back then.
Yeah, that was a different time back then. Kind of crazy that they gave the bad Screamtail the the Halloween stamp.
That Screamtail stinks.
It ain't great.
Well,
Yeah, so anything about these other collection boxes intrigue you at all? You think Greninja EX has any stock on the rise at any point?
No, I do think that I might buy the Gengar in whatever the Dark Power deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty cool, just for the mere fact that it is like a double-sided box, which I don't know if they've ever printed anything like that before. The Gengar and the Absol.
According to PokeBeach, they've done it 2 other times before that. I couldn't tell you what they are,
they have.
but they've done it before. So
okay, but I mean, Gengar is just a cool Pokemon. I think it's 2 Twilight Masquerades, a Paldea Evolved. I don't think they put Obsidian Flames in there. I wonder if they're going to reprint that set again.
I don't know. As we move towards we've had Charizard printed like 6 times. I think we're good. I think we're perfectly fine with Charizard right now. I'm very intrigued by the Greninja set personally. I love these like big ultimate collections. I bought the Arceus one when that was a thing. I think both of these are. I think that was also a GameStop exclusive. This might also be a GameStop exclusive. I low-key think Greninja EX is. Oh, this guy! Look at him flexing on us.
I didn't just found these on my desk. I don't even know.
George's desk is a treasure trove. It's insane. Yeah, I'm a Greninja EX truther. I think someone's gonna figure out this deck. Like, I don't think it's that bad. I just don't think it's that great either. I think that's one of those cards where it's like, give it a set or two when we get some more stuff coming out. I think something's gonna come out that makes that card a lot better than it actually is. But I think the playmat's cool, and I think the Greninja themed stuff is cool. I just really like Greninja. That's one of my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, you like Greninja. I could do or take with I'm alright with Greninja. They're alright. I don't know. I also don't really like those playmats that they come in the premium collection boxes.
They're a little tight. They're a little small.
They're small, and they also always come out weird, like they're warped and stuff.
Yeah. I think I gave my Arceus one to one of my friends as like as a gift, but that's I'm excited. I always like these little box products. I'm into that, so I'll probably pick that up at some point, maybe on sale or something. We'll see what happens. We're gonna.
I like to keep them sealed.
Yeah, you never know when they're gonna have to pay rent. So,
Exactly.
But we've approached into our my favorite segment of the show as we wrap up here. We're going to do this week's edition of Squawk or Seize, where I ask George a various this or that question, and he gets to choose whether he squawks it, which means that he loves it. He's yapping about it. He's hollering to the moon about it, and then drawing 6 cards. Or he's going to seize it, which means don't like it, stop production, do not go further than this. So George, this week I thought it'd be fun as we are on the cusp of the Baltimore regionals. I figured I'd get your opinion on some quintessential Baltimore bites of food. As we're food people. We like to we enjoy dinner and snacks and a trip to Applebee's every Wednesday. So I figured, I get your take on some Maryland staples. You feeling up to the task?
This is probably the most exciting thing I've heard all day. This is amazing.
All right, so we're gonna get to learn a lot about George today, folks. So I'm gonna start you off with a softball here. All right, squawk or seize the crab cake?
Ah, come on. You're squawking a crab cake every day of the week, buddy.
You know
what?
Guy?
You know what? Huge crab cake guy. And there's a lot of places that have great breakfast spots in Baltimore that does a crab cake egg Benedict. Oh man. I mean, listen, it's a very filling breakfast, but dude, it hits. I will definitely be having one on Sunday morning. Baltimore regionals, no matter what. I mean, if I'm in day 2, probably not. But I might wake up early and try to get one in.
There you go. All right, squawk or seize. Yeah, squawk or seize. Orange Crushes. Not sure if you're familiar with the alcoholic beverage, the Orange Crushes.
So Orange Crushes are more of a Delaware thing, like Dewey Beach. There's a bar down in Dewey Beach. They have the old school. I can't think of the name of it now. People that listen to this from Delaware are going to kill me on it. But they have like the old school orange squeezers on the bar, and they squeeze the oranges right there, and then you just hit it with vodka and Sprite, and boom. Actually, a bar that I used to work out here when I was a bartender for years, we sold, I think, like 140 Orange Crushes in a weekend once.
Oh, wow.
So I'm squawking the Orange Crush. It's definitely crushable. And yeah, it's just so simple. Fresh orange juice, Sprite, and vodka. How could you go wrong?
You can't go wrong. Keeping it in the adult beverage area, squawk or seize the Black Eyed Susan?
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the Black Eyed Susan is. You stumped me on that one.
All right, here we go. I got it for you right here. The Black Eyed Susan it's named after the state flower of Maryland, which is interesting. It is Peachtree schnapps, vodka, orange juice, and sour mix.
Yeah, I'm seizing that. I mean, I'm sure there's some lovely people down in the great state of Maryland that swear by it. Yeah, we're seizing that, and if I ever hear about it again, I'm gonna be really upset. That's not a drink you'll see me ordering at a bar anytime soon.
I hate schnapps, so I'm with you on that one. Not a fan. All right.
Peep schnapps nigga.
All right, so squawk or seize the traditional oyster. How do you feel about oysters?
Oh, well, I keep telling you about the one place that we have to go, right?
Yes.
Lee's Pint and Shell. I think they shuck the most oysters in the state. Maybe it's just a jig. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not from Baltimore. Maybe I'm just a tourist. Who knows? But I love oysters. I'm an oyster aficionado. I can tell you a lot about it. I'll give you a little fun fact here. I once dated a girl that I took her to this really cool oyster bar in Hoboken, New Jersey. And they have oysters from all over the place. West Coast oysters. Did you lose me there?
I lost you there for a second, but we're okay. Continue.
It won't be an episode unless I get something messes up.
Your laptop's not dying, is it?
The laptop isn't. It just said reconnecting. I don't know what happened there. But what was the last thing you heard?
I heard you talk about a girl you were dating. So, can you hear me now?
Okay, so
Okay.
I took it to this really nice oyster bar. I can hear you now. Yeah,
Okay.
oyster bar in Hoboken, New Jersey, and they have oysters from all over the place, and they have Komomotos, which are like West Coast oysters. I think they're Japanese or from California, or you could get them in California, and they're from Japan. And she's sitting there, and I'm watching her go ahead and spill out the water of the oyster. I'm like, that's the Pacific Ocean right there. When are you ever going to taste the Pacific Ocean? It's not like we're just going over to California right now. So I was really upset. So, yeah, I'm a big oyster fan. We're definitely squawking that one. Hundo P.
All right, last one. Old Bay.
You know, I don't hate Old Bay. But I'll tell you what I hate about Old Bay. It doesn't need to be on every freaking thing they have down there. Like everything. Old Bay this, Old Bay chips, Old Bay pickles. Like it's like everything is Old Bay. It doesn't need to be all. You know what? I'm squawking. I'm not squawking Old Bay. I don't mind Old Bay in the way it tastes, but the overdoing of it all, we're seasoning it. We're seasoning Old Bay. Putting an end to it. Needs to be stopped. Needs to be contained.
That concludes this week's edition of Squawk Seize. I think that's going to become one of my favorite segments of the show every week, where you just get to hear you rant about things that you may like or dislike. It's very funny. So let us know at home what you guys want us to Squawk Seize. We'll take suggestions at home. But that pretty much wraps up everything we wanted to talk about this week. We weren't sure how much of an episode we were going to have, and here we are an hour deep into this thing. We got a lot to talk about, so.
I'll be honest, halfway through, I think I might have blacked out. I don't even know because I didn't even realize we were like at 50 minutes and I was like, what have we even talked about today? Have we even covered anything?
We talked about some stuff for sure, but that's going to conclude this week's episode. George, would you like to let the people know where they can find you?
On the X site, Pony Bottle Champ. Also on Instagram, George_Fabre. A lot of it's my boring work stuff, so if you go there, I do apologize in advance.
Love that. And you guys can check me out at Koopa NJ across platforms. Again, we're going to be both going to Baltimore, so we're still a few weeks away from that. We'll have obviously some more content coming out before that as well. And check us out on the social platforms. We are on X at Squawkcasts. We're on YouTube at the Squawkcast, and we are going to be on your favorite podcasting sites soon. We're working on that. Working on that part as we speak. But thank you guys so much for joining us this week, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, your week, the evening, whatever time you're watching us at. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.
#Draw6.
Draw 6.